Russia has slammed America, the UK and France over strikes on Syria, calling their actions a violation of the UN Charter. President Putin has issued a statement on the attack, and for more on that, we're now joined by Igor Zhdanov in the studio. Igor, thanks for coming in. What more can you tell us about what President Putin has said in response to these strikes?
Well, basically, he condemned in the strongest terms possible the military action taken by the US, the UK and France. He said that this group of allies chose to target not just the military facilities but the civilian as well, saying that they basically, by this, they have violated all international norms. And as pretext for those strikes, Vladimir Putin has said they chose a staged chemical attack. He stressed that he does not believe that the chemical attack happened in Duma because the Russian military entered the city right after the allegations and couldn't find any evidence of any nerve or toxic agent being used there. And in fact, they couldn't find any witnesses to the events described by those making the accusation. Have a listen as to how Vladimir Putin addressed the situation in full.
The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has deployed its specialists on a fact-finding mission. But a group of Western countries cynically ignored this, launching a military attack without waiting for the results of the investigation. Russia emphatically condemns this attack on Syria, where Russian servicemen are helping the legitimate government fight terrorists. With its actions, the United States only exacerbates the humanitarian disaster in Syria, bringing suffering to civilians, essentially abetting terrorists who have been tormenting the Syrian people for 7 years, and provoking a new wave of refugees from this country and the region in general.
The Russian president also touched upon the OPCW investigation in that statement. There are fears that this latest military action could interfere with the watchdog's probe, isn't there? Tell us more.
Well, yes, indeed, because these strikes were launched literally hours before the official OPCW, a UN-backed chemical body, investigation was supposed to kick off on site in Damascus. And so now the biggest question is how, if in any way, of course, these strikes affected the investigation on the ground, because were the facilities that the investigators intended to search, to look into, were they bombed? Have they been damaged? Have they been completely destroyed? Or has the investigation been, or has the strikes, maybe the strikes did not hamper the investigation at all? So this is the big question that lies in front of the international community right now.
And we have reached out to the OPCW, haven't we, for a comment on whether these strikes will inhibit or affect their investigation in any way. When we do hear from them, we will be bringing our viewers that latest information. All eyes are, of course, on Moscow for a response to these strikes now. What else is coming out of Russia?
Well, the Russian Foreign Ministry has reacted as well. First and foremost, they've said that the UN Security Council has to look into these strikes and has to act in retaliation and to punish. Basically, that you said the Russian Foreign Ministry has said that the US, the UK and France should be brought to justice over what Russia views as an attack which violated international norms. Russia is going to submit to the UN Security Council all facts and data regarding these strikes, the ones that Russia has, and in fact an emergency Security Council meeting called by Russia is expected very shortly later on Saturday. Simultaneously, the Foreign Ministry warned that those attacks that come without a sanction from the UNSC de facto, they are diluting the role of the Council, the international role of the Council, and this is they've called it a dangerous tendency. So also the Foreign Ministry touched upon something that France has said. France has said that apparently Paris has intelligence information that since 2013 Syria have been working on its secret chemical weapons program. This is something that is going in contrast with what the OPCW had said before, because the OPCW in 2016, they vouched that the Syrian government got rid of all of its toxic stockpiles. That was something that Russia oversaw, and the OPCW had full control of. And so the Russian Foreign Ministry has said that if France had this information since 2013, as they claim, then why bring it now? Why only bring it up now and stay silent for so many years?
Igor Zhdanov, thank you for those details.